the web at efoodsdirect.com. Again, that number, 1-800-409-5633.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
We have read mainstream news articles here on air out of the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Reuters, where the Pentagon itself is tattling on their own operations as a way to kind of let it just slip out quietly, kind of like you pass gas in church. They just let it slip out there and hope that nobody notices. That way, when it comes out in mainstream news later, they don't get in political trouble. And that is heroin dealing. Heroin is a scourge. It's a horrible, dirty, extremely addictive drug, one of the most addictive out there. And before 2001, there was almost no opium coming out of Afghanistan. Now, over 90% of world opium production comes out of Afghanistan. That's an official State Department number. Around $500 billion a year of unaccounted cash. So the banks with fractional reserve banking can leverage that at least 10 to 1. So what's 10 times 500 billion? Well, we know that's $5 trillion. 10 times 500 billion is $5 trillion a year. We had the CIA take over the United States in 1947 with the National Security Act, and they've been operating in total secrecy without anyone able to even investigate them since then. The Pentagon budget is at $1.9 trillion on budget, $1.1 trillion on the official books, another $800 billion they get in supplemental, not counting black ops funding. So let me ask, does a group that gets close to $2 trillion a year, are they involved in narcotics trafficking? Well, we know it came out in Congress that for the 10 years of the Vietnam War, they were flying inside, this is declassified, this is admitted, if you haven't looked it up, please do, heroin into this country. There's only a few places you can grow opium in the world, one of them the Golden Triangle, the other Afghanistan, and now it's more than a 12-fold, more than 12, that was a year-old number, opium production, and because all this is coming out, the CIA last week had a little production on Fox News where they had an Army commander on saying, yes, we helped the Taliban grow opium poppies. And that's coming up in the next hour. Now, I've told you this for years, and I've heard local talk show hosts who are police officers. One of them is a really nice guy. I've met him. I know him. He's not a bad guy. He's a good conservative, libertarian. Just say, I can't believe the government is bringing drugs in. Well, it was declassified in 1996 in the CIA Solicitor General's investigation. I watched the televised hearings that most of the cocaine in the 1980s was shipped in by the CIA. I mean, that's on record. And it's been in Esquire, New York Times, you name it. And so I thought I'd just cover this coming up in the next hour because they know this info's out there. So they say, well, we're helping grow the opium to fight al-Qaeda. So I'm going to break down exactly how the drug war works coming up in the next hour. Kurt Nemo's got a story in association with this Fox News piece. Fox News makes excuse for CIA's Afghan opium cultivation. So our 60,000 troops and another 100,000 contractors, that's 160,000 that you're paying for as taxpayers in Afghanistan. That's for the $500 billion before they launder it and leverage it. That's $5 trillion. So $5 trillion total in overall opium profits. That's why we're in Afghanistan, one of the biggest reasons. So we'll be going over that coming up in the next hour. And also, here's another report out of Infowars.com. U.S. Army trains to take on the Tea Party. We got more on top of the big stack of secret Army training manuals where they are drilling to, quote, take on the Tea Party. And you've seen the Southern Poverty Law Center and ADL manuals out, even saying that Judge Andrew Napolitano, Ron Paul, myself, countless others are terrorist enablers. Yes, we're criticizing our government. And as Americans, we're supposed to sit down and shut up. That's what land of the free, home of the brave means. We're not supposed to talk about that. So that's some of the other news I want to go over in the next hour, plus Obama's speeches demonizing the Tea Parties, birthers, and people that, quote, criticize the government. You're not supposed to do that in America, according to Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro, Obama. But coming back in the next segment, the segment after that, I want to take your phone calls, the toll-free number to join us on this Sunday live, May 2nd. You know, yesterday was May 1st when the communists and illegals protested and rioted and beat people up in Arizona and California. And by the way, I couldn't find that article. Will you reprint me that San Francisco Chronicle article about them beating pro-sovereignty groups up? I'm sorry, it's not in my stack here. We'll come back with that. Notice it was May Day when you saw the bombing in Times Square yesterday. But I'm sure, because I listened to the hour-long press conference in New York, and there was nothing about this being Commie Day. So I'm sure none of this has anything to do with Communist Day. So let's not discuss that. Just a little idea out there that if this isn't some staged event to use a police state against the American people, as most staged terror has been in the past, it happened on Commie Day. But some mainstream media is saying, well, we should look at the American people and the Tea Parties. Well, they may find some patsy they bust. They've been saying the Tea Parties are going to carry out terror attacks. Bill Clinton has said, give up all your rights. Don't criticize what the government's doing, or you're going to cause another Oklahoma City. So this could be a staged event along those lines. But it could be a real event. It could be a real event, so we will continue to look at that today as well. But the toll-free number to join us on air to talk about any of these issues that we've discussed today is 888-201-2244, 888-201-2244, or locally in Central Texas, 512-646-1776. Again, 512-646-1776, or 888-201-2244, and we will take your calls. Now, they say hindsight is 20/20. I don't know what happened with the bombing at this. They didn't kill anybody, thank God, but a device detonated at the end, at the finish line of a marathon there on Friday. Last night, some type of smoke bomb went off with a bunch of gasoline and firecrackers and butane and propane, so we've got to ban all that now, the media is saying. Again, people are using cars as weapons, got to ban those, got to all be slaves or we won't be safe. I don't know what's happened with this, but we can certainly get your view on it. Don't worry, though. In the next few weeks, it always comes out, once the newspapers have had their headlines, once the sheeple have decided what they think went on, later what actually happened almost always unfolds, almost always develops. Separately, on the illegal aliens running around protesting in our country, I've got Reuters, AP, and the Washington Times reporting that Mexico last week massacred a bunch of native Mexicans. They're Indians. And in Mexico, they're very racist against people who aren't of Spanish descent. And they cut off several towns. They cut their electricity and water off. And then some UN workers were going in, and they machine gunned them on the road. And I have other reports of Mexican troops coming into the United States. And I wanted to ask the question to listeners out there. If you're a U.S. citizen and try to go to Mexico with an anchor baby, that is, you go into a hospital right when your wife's about to give birth and demand that you be given free health care, you are thrown out on your behind. So why? And, of course, Mexico was also in the news Thursday of last week saying, we apologize for abusing immigrants because they beat them up, they enslave them, they put them in work camps when they come in from Guatemala into southern Mexico. So I just wanted to point that out. I mean, why are we supposed to kiss the butt of all these illegal aliens that are bankrupting our country? And why is the government using them as a political tool, a weapon against the American people? when Arizona just simply says, if police pull an illegal, some alien over who's drunk driving, and they happen to already be an illegal alien, and we find this out, we're going to bring them to the police on that matter as well. Let me tell you a little bit about one of our great sponsors, HomeGain.com. This is the place to get you started buying or selling a home, finding a realtor, and getting any real estate questions answered. Go to HomeGain.com and see what I'm talking about. All you need to do is type in your home address, and you will get an instant free estimate of your home's value online. This is a great way to be able to monitor the value of your home. And again, it's absolutely free. There are tons of tools to help you. For instance, if you want to remodel your home, go to HomeGain.com. Use their Home Sale Maximizer to help you determine which home improvements can most increase your home's value before you put it on the market. For 10 years, these folks have been helping home sellers and buyers. Visit their link at Infowars.com. Look for Max, the orange home gain gorilla, to help you with any real estate needs you might have.